Hello tubers and welcome to Coopersthaiadventures. Today is our weekly segment on Money Matters. Welcome back, folks. Today I want to talk about a topic near and dear to my heart, and that is Bitcoin. In particular, a couple things I want to cover today is Bitcoin proxies, what I mean by that, and stick around to the end because I'm going to explain a trade that I did yesterday to generate some income on these proxies. Anyways, just to backtrack a little history, why I believe in Bitcoin. And to me, it's a bit of common sense when you look at what's happening in the world today. In particular, the amount of debt that the governments are having and having to, need to service going forward, which in my opinion is causing this rampant inflation we're seeing. Do I believe the government figures of 4%, 5% inflation? To be honest, I don't. I think it's actually a lot higher than that from, what my research does and has shown me. And, what's causing it? Well, government overspending. When they're printing fiat money, paper money with nothing backing it, that's causing the inflation that we see happening. So what has to happen? Are they going to tax us a lot more to pay this debt? That's not going to be palatable in an election year, nor probably ever. The simple answer, and this is what I think will happen, is they'll just continually run the printing presses to print more money, meaning inflation's here to stay. So my point of that history is, what do we do today to protect our investments? A lot of people prefer the stock market. That's okay. I don't really have an issue with that. But, are you getting real returns there compared to the real inflation rate? That's what you have to ask yourself. Going forward, our stock's going to plummet. Some people think it is. Some think it's going to go the other way. So personally, with me, with Bitcoin's fixed supply, and really it's a store of value, Bitcoin, to be comparable to gold, in my opinion, going forward. It's more of a safer investment, believe it or not, in my mind, based on my research, of course, and obviously you need to do your own. And I want to put a little disclaimer out. I'm not here to give you financial advice. I'm basically here to say, look, here's what I'm doing. These are real life examples. I'm not someone who, as pundits say, selling my book or, advising people to buy something when I'm turning around and selling it. No, that's not it. These are real life examples that I'm actually doing. So, and again, at the end, I'll show you one I did yesterday. But so the question is, how do you protect your wealth? Well, I've decided Bitcoin's the way to go. Obviously, you need to do your own research, and I'm assuming that you did watch that interview I recommended with Michael Saylor and Tucker Carlson. That was a real good explanation in layman's terms of why you want to hold Bitcoin long term. And assume, makes an ass of you and me, right? So one shouldn't assume. But anyways, please, if you haven't watched it, I'll put a link in at the end. Go back and watch it. Even if you're not familiar with Bitcoin or thinking you won't even be looking at it down the road, it'll give you an overview, when things start to really take off and you're thinking, wow, geez, what is this all about? You'll at least have a precursor as to what is going on. And, anyways, Bitcoin proxies. Well, what's a proxy? A proxy is, in my opinion, there's several definitions. It's not a person. It's a vehicle where you can mirror or mimic Bitcoin, the price actions, say, investing in Bitcoin, without having to invest in the actual coin. And the reason I looked at Bitcoin proxies, and a lot of yous might be interested in, is that, it seemed difficult to me to visualize wallets and holding it private with keys and cold wallets, hot wallets. There was a lot there. I understand a lot more now than I did back then. but I was looking for a simpler way to invest in Bitcoin without actually having to hold the actual coins. And I found vehicles that for me work, and you might want to look into them and do your own research. These were things that, I mean, I did look at Coinbase. That's, you don't have to hold the coin, but I wasn't getting a return on that, which was, one of my criteria. So what I found was Bitcoin Proxies, and there's companies out there that actually hold Bitcoin. MicroStrategy is the one I, currently own, as well as Bitcoin miners. And these tend to, over time, follow the price of Bitcoin. So as Bitcoin tends to go up or down, they're also doing a similar, for the most part, trend. So that's what the Bitcoin proxies to me were. The benefits, however, was that I could earn income on, holding these stocks. Now, they don't pay dividends, so it's not that type of income. Upward price mobility obviously is how you could make money on them, as well as I had the opportunity to sell options on my stock. And I covered that briefly in a prior video, but I'll get into it a little more here. Let me start with MicroStrategy. And it's the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. About 158,000, a little over, coins they hold on their treasury balance sheet. And Michael Saylor, the chairman now of the company, former CEO, was quite explicit and blunt, explaining, hey, if you believe in Bitcoin, we're a vehicle for you. And if you don't believe in it, then you shouldn't invest in us. So he, like me, and when you watch his interview, you'll see it, doesn't have a lot of faith in the fiat money that's circulating in the world. And he's more concerned about protecting his assets and his wealth and his company, and figures he's doing that, with Bitcoin. So the benefit of MicroStrategy is that roughly about 100 shares, and there's various calculations on the internet, YouTube channels, you can find it, but about 100 shares of MicroStrategy equates to 1.2, 1.25 Bitcoin, actual Bitcoin. So as the movement, and you can see this through the history of MicroStrategy, as Bitcoin prices go up, MicroStrategy typically goes up. It does have volatility similar to Bitcoin, but at least it's a way that, with your trading account, it's, any of the accounts that you have that allow trading, Schwab, Fidelity, IBK Brokers, in my case it's TD Waterhouse in Canada, they allow you to buy MicroStrategy. And in my case, they allow me to sell calls against that as well, should I decide. So it's a way to invest in Bitcoin without actually having to hold the coins. It's called a proxy, a Bitcoin proxy, and it gives you the benefit, in my opinion, long term, of not having to take physical custody of your Bitcoin and still be involved in the Bitcoin marketplace. As well as MicroStrategy, I also did research, and there's what's called Bitcoin miners, and they're the companies that actually mine the physical Bitcoins, monthly, and typically the miners sell the coins onto the open market, and that's how they pay their bills. So, I looked for miners that, and there's oodles of them. There's lots of them out there. In fact, a lot of the rumors now, reports are that some of the big governments, sovereign governments on the planet, are also starting now to open Bitcoin mining operations because they're maybe hedging their bets as well with Bitcoin. But anyways, to make a long story short, personally, I look for miners that are either debt-free or close to it, have good management, and size of scale with volumes that warrant that. And also, I prefer ones that hold the Bitcoin, or at least as much of it as possible. Because again, I think going forward, having the Bitcoin in your portfolio, and in their case, as the miners having it, is going to be a huge plus, for demand of the product. So, and the miners I looked at are Riot, CleanSpark, Hut 8, and Marathon Digital. Marathon is my smallest holding. I was bigger into them before, but I'm less now because I think the management is not up to as good, let's say, as the other companies. But they all own good stacks of Bitcoin, let's say. And in my opinion, currently, I think they're undervalued, but that's just my opinion. So they haven't been tracking as good as, say, MicroStrategy, the value of Bitcoin. But I think that has to do with the halving personally. Typically going into the halving, there's miners that aren't going to make it unless the price doubles because their proceeds are cut in half. That's what the halving is. The rewards for doing the same amount of work is half. And that occurs next April 2024. So it could be at an early stage where people are nervous about the miners, but all of these companies are owned by BlackRock, Vanguard, the big boys. They all own percentage shares. I think 8% of MicroStrategy is owned by BlackRock, so tells you a bit about their thinking on it. And as well as these ones, the miners I'm speaking of, I think they're going to make it through the halving quite easily. The big will get bigger. And that's, again, if the price doesn't double, they'll be around because of their, sustainable debt loads. Most of them have no debt, so that's a good sign. Anyways, a little bit at the end here, the trade I did yesterday. So I took a portion of the portfolio. I took 3,000 shares of Riot. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go out 5 months and sell a call. Now, Riot's currently trading yesterday at about $10.50, 48 cents roughly per share. And I sold the call of April next year, and which is kind of right at the halving, guys, for $45 100 shares. And there was 30 contracts, 3,000 shares. The contract's 100 shares, so there's 30 contracts at $45 a contract. So I generated $1,350 of option income, which immediately goes into my account. I sold the call, so I get paid, and now I just sit and wait. And interestingly, the strike price of the call was $40. So the stock yesterday was $10.50, say. My April price that, my stock would get taken from me would be at a price of $40. So that's quite a big upside should I have to give my stock up. I give it up at $40. In the meantime, I keep the $1,350 income that I receive from the sale of the calls, and simply I call it getting paid to wait. I do expect the price to go up. However, I don't expect it to hit $40 by April, which means the option will expire. Obviously, if it's less than $40, the option expires worthless. And I retain my shares, and I have an opportunity to sell another call for whatever time period and price I decide at that point. But until then, my shares are, I call it, kind of locked in. Again, I'm getting paid to wait, and then we'll see what happens with the price. But anyways, that's one of the benefits of the proxies that I see, is that I can generate income at the same time as holding on to my stock, expecting a nice price increase. Now, should the price go up above 40, if it goes to $50, well, I only get paid my 40, and the guy that paid me the option, he wins. Good for him. God bless him. Hey, I'm happy with 40 at a stock that's, trading currently at $10.50. Should the stock be less than 40 at the end of the option period, April 19th, I believe it is next year, I simply retain all the income I receive, the option premium income, as well as keep my stock. And again, I can maybe sell another call if I decide. But there'll be a lot of interest in the next few months with the Bitcoin halving coming up, the ETFs approvals. I think they're going to be any day, maybe January. There's a lot of speculation now. They're definitely coming. It's not a matter of if, just when. But anyways, hopefully that was of some interest today. Please comment, and if there's something you'd like me to discuss in future, or you have some questions about my strategy and what I've been doing, by all means, please comment, and do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. That helps out the channel immensely. I appreciate Coop allowing me this period every week to, pontificate on what I see happening. And yeah, by hitting the like and subscribe and sharing to your friends, it'll really help the channel out. Anyways, without further ado, I'll let you go now. But please do me a favor, do yourselves a big favor. Go watch that interview, Tucker Carlson and Michael Saylor. It's layman's terms, so anybody can understand it, even with if they're not into Bitcoin. What he talks about, and this is what I like, makes common sense. Common sense to me, hey, if you can't pay your bills and you can print more money, well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to do it. We can't do that. If we can't pay our bills, we can't go print more money. So, it's too bad the governments couldn't be as fiscally conservative as most of us. But okay, well, that's it for today. Have a great day. Have a great week, and see you next weekend.